Yes, sir. Welcome to Under the Hood Sports. I'm your host with the most, Johnny Hill. Hey, man, if you don't know me, you really should know me. I got a living legend right here in my presence, man. If you don't know who Brady White is and you're in the city of Memphis and you have watched Memphis Tiger football, you are really sleeping underneath a rock, man. This is a legend right here. Man, he had done it all, man, at his time at Memphis. And not only that, he's just a great man, man, great guy, man. And I worked with Brady for since 2020, and he been the same guy, stayed solid, man. And he doing great things and big things now, man. Thanks for coming on the show, Brady.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure, brother.
Man, Brady, we're gonna just dive deep into this right quick, man. Brady, you have done a lot in your journey, man, as a quarterback, man. And being from California, right? You have done a lot of great things, bro. Let's rewind the clock, man, because for the audience who don't know, he also played in the USFL. He had an opportunity to go to the NFL. You have really played a lot of football in your young 27 years of living, right? And but let's go back, man. Let's start it back, man. Who introduced you to the game of football, man? What made you want to play the quarterback position?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think growing up, I have, awesome parents that never forced anything upon me and kind of let me and my siblings, pick up all these different sports that we wanted to play. And so I'd have to say probably my two parents, but I don't know if there was a singular person who really like kind of put the football, in
Mhm.
my lap as a baby or anything like that. I just remember always being around sports. Not only my immediate family, but also my extended family are very involved in sports and college athletics and stuff like that. And so I just remember ever since I was a kid, always doing something, whether it was basketball, baseball, football. And I just always gravitated towards football. That was kind of my first love. Um, Played multiple sports growing up, all the way throughout high school, but football was always the one, man. And so I think probably my parents would be the two people that kind of introduced me into the sport.
Brady, let's speed it up, man. Let's speed it up. Your journey. You played at Hart High School, right? And you threw for over 10,000 yards, man. Just talk about that, man. Your career, your time at Hart, man. And your biggest takeaways from being a part of that high school, man, and that program.
Yeah, Hart's got a lot of tradition. Has had a lot of success. Growing up, I remember watching that high school and that football program. As a kid, my dad was a Hart Indian growing up, and so it was really cool to kind of follow in his footsteps, so to speak, but also kind of blaze my own path at that school. Obviously, a rich tradition with the football program and also the coaching staff there with Mike Harrington and his kind of legacy that he's built with himself, but also with his other brothers that coached there alongside him. And while they weren't there with him when I was there, he was still the head coach, and we were able to do a lot of awesome things, have a lot of success, win a lot of football games, and win another CIF title in my junior year. But it was a lot of fun, man. I would credit a lot of who I am to that time of my life being in high school. The guys that I was with were a lot of guys that I grew up just growing up with and playing football with, and we were able to stick together and share a lot of fond memories, not only on the field but off the field, and play with a handful of really talented players that also got to extend their football careers into college, and one of them is playing in the NFL that I played with, but there's a handful that have played in the NFL from Hart. So loved being an Indian, still an Indian through and through, and then they obviously helped me get to where I am today.
Brady, how did it feel, man, to play in the US All American game, man? How did that feel, man?
Oh, that was a dream come true, man. Just I remember so in junior high, I played in like their their like junior All-American game that was
Mhm.
held, in the same venue in the Alamo Dome. And then, after our game, like we got to stay an extra day and then watch the big high school game the next day. And so it was always a dream of mine to not only, be an All-American, but to play in that specific game and to obviously achieve that goal and to be able to start, in that football game and have success was a lot of fun. It was a great experience. Great, a ton of great athletes around you that you get to know and compete against or compete with in the years to come. So it was a blast, and we ended up winning. We dominated that game, so it was fun.
Man, facts. Hey, man, let's talk about it, man. You went to Arizona State, man. Oh, what made you want to go to Arizona State, man?
Yeah, I was blessed to have plenty of options coming out of high
Yeah.
school, and the big thing for me was after I got on like my first time visiting there unofficially, as I forget, I think it's probably like sophomore to junior year or my junior year. Um, it was just truly everything that kind of went into the college decision. For me, it was more than just football. It's like where you're going to live and all these other things. And obviously, my relationship with the coaching staff was
Yeah.
extremely strong. Everyone knows kind of my history with Coach Norvell, but obviously he started out there, and that's where it all kind of kicked off. I got to know him since my sophomore year of high school, and he was recruiting me strong. And so, getting to build that relationship with the staff, getting on campus, seeing how beautiful Arizona is, and
Yeah.
you're away from home, but you're still close enough where like you can drive or quick
Yeah.
flight. Um, a lot of people don't know they have the Barrett Honors College within the university that is kind of its own little unique separate entity in terms of when it comes to academia. And so I know Arizona State's not considered like a premier
Yeah.
um, academic school, but
Yeah.
they've grown. They've got a really strong business program, and then seeing this honors college was it kind of like really stood out to me, along with a handful of other universities that were strong in academics. And then the big thing was their football program was coming off of, I think, back to back double digit win seasons. They were competing year in and year out for the South, with the USC's and the Utahs and UCLA's of the pack. And so it was just all of it was really coming together. It was like the perfect storm of high quality product on the football field, a phenomenal place to be and live. Love the university, and then the relationship with the coaching staff and the football guys. And I committed pretty early. It was before my senior year, and so I'm still, I'm an alumni. I graduated there,
Yeah.
so I'm
For
still
sure.
I'm still a devil. But it was a great time. So I loved being there. I still have a lot of love for that place. So I appreciate you asking.
Man, for sure, man. Because that's a lot of things people don't understand, man. Because you did come from somewhere else. You didn't completely start as a Tiger, man. But Brady, you had a little few injuries at Arizona State, man. So talk about that, man. How was it mentally during them times? Because you had some good moments. You did have your opportunity to play and start, man. But you did have a few low moments getting nicked up, man. So talk about that.
Yeah, it was really one major one. So I redshirted my first year there, and got to learn behind a lot of seniors and Michael
Mhm.
Bercovici, who was a guy who had been there for a while. And then my redshirt freshman year, I competed for the job with Manny Wilkins, and he ultimately ended up winning that battle and starting. But I ended up playing in multiple games that year,
Mhm.
early in the season, and then got my first start against UCLA, kind of
Yeah.
right about the midway point. And we ended up winning that game, and it was kind of a game for me where like you get in there and it's your first start as a college quarterback. You're a redshirt freshman. I remember coming out silent, just being like, it wasn't like, it wasn't like, oh my God, everything's moving fast, but you just kind of like catch yourself like just going through, play by play, not
Yeah.
really like seeing the defense and breaking it down. And it was just, I remember kind of just like laughing to myself on the side, like, holy smokes, I need to just relax. And I ended up getting into a rhythm that game. And as the game progressed, got, kind of found myself getting better and better, and really feeling that out. And so it was good to see that and to have that experience. And then unfortunately, late in the fourth quarter, kind of on a fluky play, it wasn't like a big hit or nothing. I did a pretty significant injury to my foot. I had a midfoot fracture dislocation with the Liz Frank. So we went big, go hard or go home. We went hard for sure, and ended up realizing shortly thereafter that it was pretty severe, and so I ended up missing the rest of my redshirt freshman year, and the following year with that injury and just the recovery time and everything. So it was tough, but I will say, you know, me being a man of faith, and that's kind of where I'm rooted in. That helped me a lot, and having the support system from my family and friends, and also just from that coaching staff and the program. I had a lot of strong support and love kind of behind me, and so the year and a half or year and a half to 2 years that of the recovery and just the kind of building back to where you were, um, was not easy, but definitely was probably one of the biggest periods of growth kind of in my life and in my career, not only personally but like on the field, and also in my spiritual life, just because when it came to being on the field, like I wasn't playing, but I was still heavily involved, and I almost became kind of like a player coach, and just
Yeah. Yeah.
being there for the guys and helping our starter at the time, just continue to progress and help him out in any way I can, and be as much, as valuable as I could to our team, even though I was out. And so I learned a lot then, even though I wasn't playing. And then when, just slowly, working in little by little, being able to kind of get back into practice and whatnot. But, I was able, I was able to get my medical hardship year, and kind of, you get that year back,
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
which, allowed me, the time that I had at Memphis. But it was tough. That whole period was tough. It's not obviously how you chalk it up when you kind of are coming out of high school and expecting to,
Yeah.
start, especially after, you redshirt and you have big things planned, and then, that kind of that wrench gets thrown in there. But man, it's all part of his plan, and it doesn't make it smooth and doesn't make it easy, but it is what it is, and it happens for a reason. And um, I wouldn't change it, because if that wouldn't happen, I wouldn't be where I'm at today, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't have been a Memphis Tiger. So it was a blessing in disguise for sure.
Man, let's go ahead transition, bro, to Memphis, where you really made your bones, man. Not just as a quarterback, as a man that you would say, man.
Yeah.
Because in 2018, we talk about this all the time, man. I said, man, Brady, what was the most talented team you played on, man? You said, man, Johnny, to be real, that 2018 was probably the most talented. So let's dive deep into that 2018 season, man. You were the starting quarterback, and of course, Mike Norvell was there as well. But how was it, man? How was it, man? A fresh start, a clean slate in Memphis, Tennessee, man.
Yeah, well, I never in a million years thought I would be in Memphis, Tennessee. I never been to the state of Tennessee. I never been to Memphis. The transition and the transfer process, it's not like it is today. Um, and mine, I didn't, like, when I made that decision, I didn't go into the off season after the season at Arizona State with the intention of transferring. It was not last second, but it was, there was a lot going on at Arizona State, and our staff had just gotten fired and stuff, and I was coming off my injury, and without giving you the long story, um, I made the decision and came to that, um, kind of to that point
Mhm.
with very little time left. And at the time you have to get the release from the school before you can contact people. So it wasn't like transfer portal era. So the whole process happened for me very quickly. I think it all happened within about 2 weeks time. And so it was crazy. I think a lot of people in Memphis still to this day, outside of, my teammates who truly know me, don't understand how all that worked out, because I know my team didn't realize it until
Yeah, yeah.
2019. A lot of our players just thought, oh, it's a transfer kid coming in. Like, no, I came in relatively quickly, sight unseen. I literally, I came, I visited and then moved in. So
Dang.
it was wild.
Yeah,
But tons of respect and credit to the people of Memphis, but also like my teammates who just embraced me. Now I definitely had to earn my stripes, so to speak, and I knew that coming in. I knew I wasn't going to be able to just come in here and be barking around, and because these guys got to see the way I work, and in order to respect that quarterback, and kind of earn that leadership, and that trust from them. And so it was I remember saying at the end of that 2018 season, it was a big learning year, a big year of learning and growth and stuff. And but no doubt 2018 was an extremely talented team. Obviously you can look back at that, depth chart or roster, so to speak, and see a bunch of guys that are, obviously now playing in the NFL. And it was it was loaded with potential, man. And it wasn't that we were a bad squad. I think we just we would hurt ourselves in moments, and we obviously, all of us on that team would probably say we underperformed and wish we could have had a little bit better year. We got off to a little bit of a slow start with some tough, like 1 point losses to UCF and Navy early and things of that nature, but we still were able to fight and climb back and make it to the conference championship. And again, a game that we should have won but fell short. And so it was a year of ups and downs, man, of you
yeah,
know highs and lows, adversity, but absolutely great learning experience, and then really kind of set us up for the guys that came back in the team, in 2019, who was also, again, a extremely talented team, to have that jump and to the historic season, and being the one of the best teams, if not the best team, to come through this place. So it was crazy.
man. Yes, for sure. It was very crazy because that year during the regular season, correct me if I'm wrong, Brady, I went 12-2.
The 2019 year,
Yeah,
yeah, no, regular season we were regular season we were 12-1,
12-1.
and then obviously lost in the Cotton Bowl to finish
Oh,
12-2. But yeah, no, it was,
that's
yeah,
what
a lot of winning.
a lot of winning. Because if I'm not mistaken, Brady, correct me if I'm wrong. That's the best record in school history. Am I not correct? Am I correct?
um I'd have to check. I do think there might have been an undefeated team in the
I gotta do my
past. I
research.
don't know. We'd have to do our homework on that one. But
But
modern era for sure. Definitely
I tell you,
definitely the best season, and probably team to wear the
yeah.
stripes. So
Especially if you want, we can even say for that decade, for the 2010s, especially for that decade,
yeah, no doubt,
2020. Yeah,
no
that
doubt.
that's probably the best team in that decade for sure. So, man, let's dive deep into that season, man. What was your highest moment, man? Because you had there was a lot of great things that happened during that season, man. Bruh, so what was your highest moment, man?
That's tough. There was a lot of highs.
You're doing a lot of winning.
There's a lot of there's a lot of big wins and a lot of highs in that season. I don't know, man. Just obvious, the obvious ones are like the college game days
Yeah.
and the conference championship. I people always ask me that stuff and they're like, "What's ranking your top wins and stuff?" And it's tough to do just because it's all they're all different and especially one thing that I remember us that team talking about was every week you hear the 1-0 and
Yeah.
every week just focusing on day by day, week by week, going 1-0 every week. But that team, we really embrace that. And honestly, if you really understand it, like if you do that every week that goes on, like you're just the weight and the stage that you're performing on, like it just continues to get bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah, for
So like
sure. For sure.
winning each game caused the next week to be even bigger, and then the next week, and so now obviously you're building up, and the wins that set up the college game day game,
Yeah.
all that wouldn't have been possible without those other ones, and then having that stage and that platform and performing the way we did, builds towards the end of the season, and then obviously we're playing Cincinnati, at the end
Yeah.
of the year, and you got to beat them to win the West because people forget how incredible SMU and Navy were.
Yeah,
And
they
we
were
beat
really
Navy
good.
early, but Navy was like, I think I checked, they were like an 11-win team.
Yeah.
So we had to beat Cincinnati at literally the last game of our regular season just to win the West. And then if we won it, we obviously possessed home field advantage and we'd have to turn around and play Cincinnati again the following week. So that's obviously what transpired, and beat them back-to-back weeks in a row in the Liberty Bowl and ultimately won the conference championship. So super high highs. I just think I would describe it as like,
Going
I
up.
don't know, man. It was like you hit college, you're winning all these games and you have really good games, and then you have a huge performance on college game day and you think that's the peak, and then you keep on climbing and win the conference championship, and now you're in a New Year's Six bowl. So there's not one moment, but just I would say that entire season was extremely special with obviously the way the team performed, but being with those guys too, like that team was extremely tight,
Yeah.
and that goes to show like sometimes it's not about having the most talented team ever assembled. You got to have talent, and you can bet your butt that we had a lot of that.
For sure.
But
For
that
sure.
team was also really close, and I think that was a big part of our success.
Man, okay. Brady, let's transition, man, to your last season. A COVID year, man. A COVID year in 2020. That was my first season coming. And
Yeah,
you gave me a bowl game victory, man. Shout out to you, Brady. Shout out to you, bro.
the team did.
Shout
I
out to the
appreciate it.
guys, bro.
Our
Hey, shout
team
out to
gave you it.
Calvin. Shout out to all them guys, man. Because I told Calvin this too, man. I'm like, man, appreciate for that bowl victory, man. I appreciate it.
Yep,
But shout
yep.
out to them guys, man. So, like, talk about that season because it was a different landscape, not just in football, but in life. The world shut down, but we still were able to have our football season. So, dive deep into that right quick for me. How were you mentally during that time?
I was great. I was full steam ahead. Working as hard as ever and getting the full preparation for another season, and then obviously the world kind of gets just flipped on its head upside down with COVID, and we didn't know what to think of it, and it's kind of, I'm sure this was this way for everyone, not just in football but in life, but especially for college football, is like you just literally didn't know what the next day held because one day you're thinking the schedule or you know the daily operation is going to be this, and it's not, and it's changed, and so it's just a constantly evolving year for everyone involved. I don't even want to know what it was like for like coaches and the athletic trainers and support staff, and like operations. It was probably a nightmare, but
Yes.
um but we were blessed to be able to play a good amount of games. We didn't get a full season just because you've got COVID and teams getting COVID, and so you got to like cancel those. And but it was wild, man. Obviously, we went into that year. I came back for my last year, and we had a lot of excitement building up, and we ended up missing some guys because obviously we got COVID going around, and families are affected, and there's different reasons for everyone, but ultimately didn't take the field with our full team that we expected to kind of going into the year, but still had a ton of young guys that had talent and were excited to step up into roles that they probably weren't anticipating having. And we still went out there, man, and competed our butts off, and ultimately put together a pretty strong year, winning 8 of our 11. I think we played 11 games that year. And there was still probably 1 or 2 that we probably should have captured, but we still had some big achievements, beating UCF for the first time since like 1920s or something. Obviously, winning a bowl game, which was something that hadn't been done since early 2010s. So it was still, there was a lot to be excited about, and definitely a year where you look back and you're proud of, and you hold your head up high. But it was super, like when you're in it and you were there too, you felt it. Like it was just a very weird year.
It was.
And so I know at one point we went like a whole month without playing a game just because of that, of that stuff that was, with COVID going on. But still, again, man, it's always a blessing just to be able to suit up and play. And so like it was still a fun year. It was super weird. It was crazy, like the all the chaos and just week to week. But the still a lot of fun wins, still a lot of experiences that were shared with my teammates and coaches, and got to celebrate a very strong finish to the year and go home bowl champions. And obviously that was my final season, so it was very emotional, and being able to finish off in the Liberty Bowl and have that moment with the city and the people there, and finish strong on the home turf was really special.
Man, and bro, one thing I do remember about that season, particularly about you, it was I think it was one of the last. It was the bowl week, one of them weeks, bro. You gave the equipment room some donuts, bro. I like.
Yeah.
I said, man, look at this man, Brady, man.
Hey, you got those guys in there work their butts off. They work just as hard as we do, and so I did that. I think I did it multiple times, but I still do that sometimes, Johnny. I just think it's not nothing big, but it's a way to just show some people who are constantly sacrificing for you that you appreciate them. And the fact that you still remember it makes me smile. I'm glad. I hope you had a lot of donuts that morning. Thank you. Shout out Gibson's Donuts.
Yeah, shout out Gibson's, bro. I said, man, look at this man 3, bro. He gave me the donuts.
Yeah, I remember that.
Hey, bro. Okay, Brady. We got a few more questions, bro. Right quick, how does it feel, right quick, to be the all-time leading passing throw, like for yardage, for touchdowns, and also for wins? What honor does that feel, man, for the city? How does it feel, bro?
Feels great. I mean, obviously, I don't play this game for those reasons. I've always, it was on record plenty of times, me talking about like I could give a rat's ass about statistics. All I care about is winning, and team success, which we had. So I'm happy for that. But with that, obviously, you're going to perform well, and so it's a big honor to hold those records, and to be sitting on top of so many different kind of categories. But I definitely want to like give the credit and a lot of kudos to like my teammates that I played with, because obviously I couldn't have done that without them, my coaches, and then also just like prior teams, um, obviously the previous record holder and Danny Wimprine, um, been able to, obviously build a relationship with him, and just the support I have from like those former Tigers that laid the foundation. The 2003 team that we just celebrated this last week with Danny, D'Angelo, and all these guys. You got Hall of Famer like Isaac Bruce, who's constantly around the program giving back and showing their support for you. And then, the prior teams, whether it was Coach Norvell or Coach Fuente, that help kind of just build on that foundation and kind of get the program to where it was. And then obviously, I wanted to make sure that I had an impact in this city and in this program and leave it better than I found it. And I think I did that. And so it brings me a lot of joy and excitement to know that those things were achieved with some awesome people. And I got to share that with so many people in the city. And my records are going to be broken like at some point. Like Seth's probably going to break my yardage record shortly, whether it's this year or if he's around next year, for surely then. And we'll see if the touchdowns get broken and the wins, but it's been a privilege and honor to hold them. Obviously that means the program's doing well if they're getting broken, so I hope they do. But I'm definitely proud to be, where to have those things and to be where they're at.
Brady, also, man, right quick, you had the opportunity to go to do the NFL and also the USFL, man. Right quick, tell the audience your experience and also your advice to a young athlete who's trying to pursue the pros, man.
Yeah, I mean, obviously my time in the NFL was short-lived. It was only camping with the Titans, and so I obviously wish it was longer, and that's the ultimate goal. But in the short time there, I had a blast and got to really, I got to taste and touch what NFL football is all about and be around, those guys and that staff and learn a lot within my short time there. And we have so many players now, that I played with and also that have, just been a part of, past Tiger teams that are having success at that level. So that was a ton of fun. It's a blast to watch those guys and to, check in on them, to hear them whenever they come back. And I just saw, JJ Russell literally yesterday in the cafeteria and got to chat with him. And so it's always fun to pick their brain, not only to catch up with them, see how they're doing, but to hear how the NFL is going. I absolutely loved every second of my short stay with the Titans. Wish I could have been around longer. And then playing in the USFL is still that's still pro ball, man. I mean, it's not obviously the big league, that's not the big boys with the NFL, but there's a lot of extremely good and talented football players. Like the NFL truly is the 1%. And so these leagues, the XFL, the USFL, still have a high level of football. And so it was very fun, and it was an absolute blessing to be drafted into that league and to play for the teams that I did and be around those guys and have that experience. And so obviously if you're fortunate enough to get to those levels, like, my hat's off to you, and just continue to grind and push. It's hard to get there, man. I would tell, these young guys, these athletes that aspire, like, your dreams are absolutely achievable. Like anything, you hear anything that you put your mind to, like, you can do. And I do believe in that. It's just a matter of perseverance, because there's going to be adversity. There's going to be bumps in the road. Like, it's not going to be the smooth sailing and everything that you think it's, going to be. Even if you are in that upper echelon and the elite of the elite, like, there's going to be an injury or there's going to be something that comes along, and you got to be able to respond and handle adversity. But it's also, I tell, our players now on our team, like, you have to have the awareness and understanding that you're not just competing with, the guys that you're around every day. Like, you're competing on a national and a global scale. And so you got to constantly, you got to differentiate yourself in any way you can for the better. And you got to be on your P's and Q's and making sure that those little things, off the field and the stuff that the hard work and the discipline and, getting in your playbook, watching film, like that's got to be, kind of the bare minimum. You got to make sure that you're separating yourself and giving yourself every advantage to fully capitalize and go out there and perform at a high level, because there's going to be a myriad and tons of guys that look and perform just like you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And with the NFL being, there's only 32 teams, there's only so many jobs. You're always replaceable. And so even if you get that opportunity, they're looking for ways to get you out of there or to just replace you or to find something cheaper. Because once you get to this college level, I think you start to realize that it's not just playing ball. Like there is a little bit more business to it, but you're still a college athlete, a student athlete. When you're in the pros, it is absolutely business, and it doesn't mean it takes away from the fun of playing, but you always hear like you realize how cutthroat and in a business this NFL thing is, and that's absolutely true. And so you just got to make sure, it's nothing to be worried or scared about. Like it's still the same game you've been playing since you were a kid, and you're just playing with really good players. But it's all those little things that kind of add up and really help separate yourself from the rest of the pack. And it's just amazing how many people you can outlast with just a little perseverance and just having the ability to, stick in there and continue to, forge yourself in the fire. And, so I just encourage guys to, obviously continue to work hard and dream big, man, go chase it. And don't let no one tell you differently. You're going to hear things. Everyone's going to tell you you're not, not good enough or not big enough, or you might not. Man, max it out. Go push yourself and continue to pursue it as long as you possibly can. Because once it's done, it's done. Like there's no recreational football. You can go play rec basketball. You can play golf. You can, go play baseball in the park when you're older as an adult. And grown up leagues and stuff like that. But like football is a different sport, and it's truly a special sport. And once you're done playing it, it's over with.
You now trying to pursue coaching, and you're pursuing that. Like, what made you want to become a coach, man? And what is your goal in coaching?
I a lot of coaches always told me like, oh, you're gonna be a great coach one day, or like you're gonna coach when you're done playing. And I kind of laughed at them. And not that I didn't think I would coach, because I actually I thought I'd be playing a lot longer, but I've always had in the back of my mind that the next step would be to get into coaching. I love the game so much, man. I always want to be involved in it, and there's always something to learn. But also I think, it's just a testament to the incredible coaches that have like impacted my life. My dad coached me for all the way up until high school. And just, the relationship we have, and being able to play for him, and then also having some great coaches along the way, whether it was on like more of the training side of like quarterback training and practicing stuff like that, or 7-on-7, but also my actual high school coaches, and then obviously the coaches that I've been able to play for in college, and the relationships and the bonds that we have, and how close they are to me, and just that special camaraderie and that connection that you have with another individual, and knowing the impact they had on my life and how much they've taught me and helped me grow as a football player and as a man. That's something that is what I want to do. And so I knew, for me, as I got older, like the biggest thing for me is I want to have an impact on people's lives, and but I also want to, be involved in football. And being able to, coaching is so much fun just because you don't get to play, so it's not kind of it's a little bit out of your control, but you have a direct impact on these young men and get to help them develop, and get to teach them and help them achieve their goals. Like I can help someone, kind of go beyond where I was at, or at least give them everything that I know. And obviously, we have a lot of awesome, men on our coaching staff that have
Yeah.
an illustrious career, both, a handful of them playing, being in the NFL as either players, but also, that have coached in the NFL and coached all around college football and been with, certain guys that are, future Hall of Fame coaches or already there, or, just really popular, well-known, successful coaches and players. They've all done it. And so I get to continue to grow and learn from them and be around them and learn more football, on top of what I already know being a player. And then I also get to give that back and share that and help these guys,
Yeah.
um, achieve their dreams and get to where, they want to go. And I'm obviously, younger and just finishing, playing. And so I think, I have a special opportunity in front of me where I can really connect with these guys. A lot of these guys on this team obviously were like freshmen when I was finishing up, so a handful of these guys played with me for a brief moment, or just, they're from Memphis, around the area. They know who I am. So being able to kind of just build on that relationship and that, unique connection, given, where I'm at in life and where they are, and maybe that brief time spent together, I can connect with them on a deeper level, or maybe they trust me a little bit more, just because, it's almost like that quarterback player relationship and bond, and that's extremely valuable, and it means a lot to me. And I think as I get older, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to connect with these guys
Mm-hmm.
and be someone that not only wants to win and obviously succeed as a coach and on the field with your team, but really want to pour into these young men, just because life is the big game. It's so much
Yeah.
more than, a score on the scoreboard, and the time you playing football, which is, one of the reasons I was explaining, in my advice to these guys who are trying to reach the ultimate, the highest level of football. Like, you only have so much time, but on the flip side, as a coach, like,
Yeah.
you want to pour into them and help them, because if you look at the greatest football player, or in my opinion, the greatest football player of all time, Tom Brady, like, you can argue whatever you want, but he's got one of the longest careers ever, and he's played till mid 40s, right? Okay,
Yeah.
that's extremely rare. Like, that's not going to be everyone. The average, you know, span of a career is probably around 2 to 3 years or something like that.
About 2, 3. Yeah.
So even if you're, and this is what I tell people, like, even if you're extremely successful, you reach the highest of heights and you play for whatever, a long ass time, like, you still have like well over half of your life ahead of you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's true.
Um, and obviously what you do on the field, like, if you're successful, that helps you in other, ventures and areas of life. But as a coach, really just helping develop these men, teach them life skills. The game of football is I think it relates so well to life. Like, there's just so much stuff that you can learn from, being a part of a team, and, the day-to-day grind, and every year, spring ball, training camps, fall
Mm-hmm.
camps, going into season. There's so much that you can extract from that if you just take that into, and apply it to kind of like, quote unquote, like everyday life, or,
Yeah. Yeah.
working something else. And so, I think that's where coaching is extremely special, and it's really fun, man. Obviously at this level, it's your livelihood, and, it's very important, and it's difficult, and there's still, it's a grind, just as much as is playing. But it's fun to help galvanize a group, the X's and O's and studying film, building, creating game plans and teaching, young men, and then seeing them go execute it, and all that goes into, winning a singular football game. And so that's just a small part of it, but it's a lot of fun, man. And obviously, I was fortunate enough to have an opportunity, the last couple of years to be on this program, and I'm still here now. But I'm grateful for Coach Silverfield and the staff that's given me these opportunities, allowed me to see that, and because it's helped kind of confirm for me like what I want to do moving forward. And then obviously, the goal is you just want to continue to grow and continue to level up, man. And obviously you want to be, calling plays and running the show as a coach and whatnot. And so that's kind of future goals for me. But I'm extremely happy to be where I'm at, and know that there's a lot of growth, that's going to come from this time, and a lot of learning that will help develop me into, whatever I'm going to become down the line.
Brady, early in the interview, you talked about your faith. Can you talk more about your faith and also any other final goals you have for yourself? Because on Under the Hood Sports, we love talking goals. Can you talk about your faith and any more goals you got for yourself? Three.
Yeah. Yeah, the biggest thing for me, man, is, my faith is that's what I'm rooted in. That's my foundation, and that's what allows me to, that I'm able to live the life that I am, thanks to the good Lord above and blessing me with my family and friends and the life that I have, and put me in situations. And it's just it's hard to put into words, man. It's extremely special. I'm loved, and was sacrificed, like Jesus sacrificed for me. And even though, he looks at humanity and understands that like it's imperfect, it's flawed. And but just to try to wrap your mind around the magnitude of God's love and admiration for you as an individual is just incredible. And obviously, that touches my heart. And I've been, fortunate enough to have some really awesome mentors as I've gone throughout my life, to be in Bible studies and go to church, go to great churches and schools that kind of really help educate you and teach you the word. And you learn about God. And then, as you grow up, as you're a young man, and man, like you kind of go on your own personal journey of getting, coming in relationship with Christ, because that's what it's all about, man. It's that personal relationship that he wants. And that's really what guides my life, man. And it's easy to get distracted. This world is a world of distractions, and
a lot.
And you're gonna fall short in all areas, but just knowing that you can, come to the cross, you can, you can pray and ask for forgiveness, and know that your God's merciful and forgives you, and is going to just be waiting there to embrace you and love you, and continue to build on that relationship, is just that you can't beat it, man. It's like life is just so much. It's in America, it's so easy to get caught up in just the everyday, like your career and all the stuff that's going on. But like it's all irrelevant when your time's ticking down. Like it's not going to matter how much wins you have and how many passing yards you got and how much money you got. Like all that stuff goes away. But I'm a believer in that, like, in eternity, and knowing that, when my time comes, like I'm not going to have lived the perfect life. I'm going to be extremely flawed. But I am saved by grace, and I have a God that sent down his only son to die for me, even though I wasn't even in existence. Like, and a lot of times, like faith and Christianity and Jesus and God and that whole topic is hard to talk about and explain, just because our brains literally cannot.
Faith thing. It's more of a faith thing.
Yeah, but I'm saying like when you try to explain it to people, like sometimes like we as humans, like
Oh
our
yeah,
brains cannot
wrap your mind around.
physically, yeah, like we're just
Yeah,
not capable of fully understanding because we're not God. Like we don't, we just
right.
aren't supposed to have all the answers and understand everything. But like to know that, obviously the Bible story and to like know all those things happened for you as an individual who is in your 20s, like
Yeah,
you weren't even a thought, like your parents weren't even alive, but
yeah,
knowing that you have a God that knew you then because he's all knowing and all powerful, and knowing that he wanted to, like he loves you that much. And that's just, that's where I'm rooted in, man. And I have to continue, like it weighs on my heart, and I'm grateful for that gift because that's the Holy Spirit, communicating to you. And
yeah.
I want to continue to grow and get better and get to know God even more, and come closer in my relationship with him, because that affects everything. If that's whole, and you're nourishing that, like that's going to nourish all other areas of life. And so that's just big for me. And what I want to be remembered, and knowing that I'm a man of God, and the way I live my life and the way I move throughout this world, like people can see that. That's big for me. And then just when it comes to like personal goals, it kind of feeds off of that a little bit. Like I just want to, like, biggest goal for me is obviously want to do well in my career and whatever I do, but um, I want to be just a man of faith that impacts others. I want to help others, um, fulfill their fullest potential and really grow personally. But I also want to be I want to be a phenomenal husband and father, to my wife and to my future kids, because I've been blessed to have seen my parents' marriage and to have the father that I have. And that means the world to me, and extremely special. And I know I'm very lucky because not everyone gets that and experiences that, but I have. And I want to be that to my family. I want to be the dad that's there. And I understand that you gotta grind. There's gonna be work where sometimes you get home late and stuff. But I want my kids to know that their dad loves them more than anything and is gonna do anything for them and gonna be there. And I want to be that for my wife, who has been my rock for since high school. I want to be a loving, supportive husband that helps um, create and build a God fearing and faithful and fun loving family together. And because that's your lineage. And then to be able to see my kids go off and obviously grow into the whatever young men and women that they become and build their families, I think that's what it's all about. And so that's the biggest goals for me. And along the way, hopefully win some games and, and do some things like that. But that's pretty much it, man. And it's easier said than done, and it's easier uh, to say all these things and then go live it day to day. But that's the big goal for me, and that's kind of what I want my life to look like and what I want to be for others.
Yes, sir, man. That was Brady White. I'm Johnny Hill. Brady, thanks again for coming on, bro. I really appreciate it, man.